such as a career setback, losing someone you love dearly, lost chances or lost opportunities, or just a personal tragedy. Failure is inevitable. However, every setback is a chance for an even greater triumph. Comebacks are actually the real ordeal. When you rise after falling, when you rise after a setback, it is there and then that we showcase God to achieve unmatched strength and resilience. Just like how some of you need to go back to failure and say thank you. They need to go back to every no and say thank you for your blessing. Why? Because when you hit rock, it is there and there that you are able to build a solid foundation, which is part of everything that you are going to build going forward. Success is not built on success, however, success is built on failures. Hezekiah falls 7 times, but guess what? Stand up the 8th time. Sometimes adversity is what you need to rise and face life head on. When it seems like life is bitter and there are too many trials, often it is when we get our blessings in disguise. Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles are the real reasons why you have developed such strength. I want to conclude by saying what defines us is how well we rise after falling. Keep rising. I thank you.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round. You can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains, we gon' walk it out, and mountains, and I rise up, I rise like the day, I rise up, I rise unafraid, I rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I rise up, I like the waves, I rise up, in spite of the ache, I rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Ooh, mountains, bring it to its feet. Ooh, mountains, and I rise.
I spoke about it yesterday. I think we were talking about things getting repossessed, and I was like, and there's nothing wrong in downgrading so that you can fix your things and manage your lifestyle and get the right people to help you, give you the adequate or correct advice for you to start again and come back bouncing. And there's nothing like a sweet comeback.
And this thing is life, eh? Sometimes you just experience things you never expected to experience. You just have to roll with the punches. If it means going back home, do that. If it means, gathering yourself, taking some time out to gather yourself, do that. This is life.
Rise up and dance.
It is, and you actually come back with experience.
Yes, this is life,
not
bro.
just from scratch.
6:47, you know what's going on in the entire world. The Israeli military operations in Gaza have killed almost 43,000 people since October the 7th last year. And according to the Ministry of Health in the Hamas-run Palestinian territory, the majority of them women and children, Israel has launched a war in immediate response to Hamas. They launched a war in response to Hamas's attack on October the 7th. The attacks, as you do know, as South Africa, we took them to the ICJ last year, and people started following those who were not, and actually started understanding history, actually, that it didn't stop on the 7th of October. It's been happening for years. And when the group fired some hundreds of rockets and militants stormed across the Gaza border last year on the 7th of October, killing some 1,200 people and taking over 200 more as hostages. Medical teams in Gaza Strip, Palestine, are facing critical shortages of essential medicines and equipment. We chat about the near impossible task of getting life-saving supplies into Gaza. That's what we're going to be talking about, and we've got a guest called Federica Lezzi, who's the MSF Medical Activity Manager. She's been to about 11 missions in Gaza. We're talking to her on the other side.
Africa from Within follows the journey of our anchor presenters who travel to various locations in order to delve into the inner workings and untold stories of the unsung heroes. At its core, Africa from Within is all about grassroots storytelling and the showcasing of the conservation contributions of ordinary people to Africa. It aims to engage and entertain viewers, educate and promote conservation, and inspire viewers to value our natural heritage. Don't miss Africa from Within on SABC2 every Friday at 7 p.m. Dynamic design duos reimagine and reinvent 4 apartments in a century-old building nestled in the vibrant suburb of Seapoint, Cape Town. Armed with creativity, determination, and a limited budget, the duos fight against the clock to transform this grand old dame into a contemporary masterpiece, all under the critical eyes of an expert judging panel. The winning duo will claim a grand prize of 300,000 Rand, with an additional 100,000 Rand going to the fan favorite team, as voted by viewers. Channel your inner wow with My Design Rules, Sundays at 7 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
This summer, we have extra large offers on Ford Ranger XL, XLT, and Wildtrak from only 481,900 for a Ranger XL single cab 4x2. Is the extra large Ranger offer from only 481,900. Visit your nearest participating Ford dealer. Optional service plan included. While stocks last. TNCs apply.
Becoming Elizabeth is the fascinating story of the early life of England's most iconic queen. With no clear heir, the death of King Henry VIII sets into motion a dangerous scramble for power. Elizabeth's fascinating and factual journey to secure the crown is filled with scheming, betrayal, and illicit relationships that threaten to bring forth her demise. At a time in which every man or woman of the court is on the wheel of fortune, which may take them to a position of great power one moment, or the executioner's block the next. Channel your inner royalty with Becoming Elizabeth, Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
6:51, 9 minutes before 7 o'clock. We're driving you safely through that traffic. Thank you for choosing the BBS
The 2 Million Gang, the Radio 2000, our music, your memories. We're talking about the anniversary, 1 year anniversary of the 7th of October, what happened last year. And you do know how the Israel responded into the Palestine and the Gaza district, and Doctors Without Borders have been there, represented by Federica Lezzi, who's currently, I think, somewhere in Europe. I don't know if Frederica is in France or which country she is in. She's a medical activity manager from MSF, which is the Doctors Without Borders, and she's been to about 11 missions in Gaza. Welcome to the show, Federica.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Which country are you in currently?
I'm in Italy. I'm Italian.
You are currently in Italy and you are Italian, and maybe just a quick explanation as to what do you do?
Yeah, okay. I've been in Gaza Strip, in the central part of Gaza Strip, in Deir al-Balah, in which Médecins Sans Frontières, I'm a pediatric surgeon, support the emergency department and the surgical activities. So I've been there for a long time. I've just come back in Italy.
And how has the conflict eroded the health system in Gaza?
Yeah, you know, in the central Gaza, in the area of Al-Aqsa Hospital, the situation changed end of August with another evacuation order issued by Israeli forces that urging people to flee. What means people? People means the people inside the hospital, so the patient, the staff, and the people that live outside the hospital. Because, you know, it's considered a safe zone, so obviously people take shelter near the hospital with tents and with little building room. So heavy explosion near the hospital, like 100-200 meters from the hospital, forced the people to leave the area. You know, the strategy is almost the same. Bombing around the hospital, evacuation order, complete isolation of facilities. What happened is that the Al-Aqsa Hospital, that for months was the only hospital supporting the central part of Gaza, at one point was completely isolated. So when we manage a limited human resources, a limited medical supplies, and we run to open a field hospital. You know, we quickly opened this field hospital. We gave to the population surgical activities. We built an emergency department, but you know, all field hospitals are not a real solution. Will not replace what was a functional healthcare system in Gaza.
Yeah, we've seen even UN representatives, some of them who have been killed by some of the bombing. And of course, with the conflict happening, we've also heard of a lot of doctors and health practitioners and sadly losing their lives. So clearly, you guys have been risking your lives and helping other lives out there. And what measures are you putting in place to support the displaced currently in the conflict in Gaza?
Yeah, it was a very difficult situation, because now in a so-called humanitarian area that is just a 40-kilometer square area, so you can imagine how little is. There is like all the people that leave their home from the north and from the central part of Gaza. This is the only area called safe, but you know, also in this area there were continuous bombing. You can hear the 24/7 the drones on the air. You know, always is not always you have the feeling to not be safe.
How easy has it been to do? I'm sure it's not easy. I mean, that's probably very, very difficult to continue doing the work, because we've also seen that it's been a challenge to deliver aid into Gaza, because we've seen some trucks getting stuck at the border, some soldiers not allowing some aid to come in. Has that changed?
No, unfortunately, it's not changed since October 2023. Humanitarian delivery system has been obstructed. Humanitarian aid entering Gaza not in sufficient quantities to meet the immense need of a devastated population. So contrary to the repeated public communication of the Israeli authorities, the humanitarian aid has been denied or severely blocked, obstructed, just from the beginning of the war. And this make nearly impossible to provide even basic health care.
Yeah, we've also heard that you guys have had to leave different health structures and have endured very violent incidents, airstrikes damaging hospitals, tanks being fired. How are you navigating your way through those?
I always say that, Al-Aqsa Hospital was bombed 3 times from the beginning of the war, and all these 3 times was bombed in the emergency department. It means that inside the hospital, inside the emergency department, you have to consider that we run something of 1,000 of patients each day. Most of them needed surgical procedures. So it's a place that is always full of people. So heat displace means that you, of course, make a disaster, make something very bad in the life of the communities. Anyhow, in Gaza, all I can say about Gaza is just a grain of sand. No words can describe the smell of the death, the sound of the drones 24/7, the feeling of the earth shaking during every bombing, the desperation of hunger, the pain of surgery without anesthesia, the terror in the eyes of children. Nothing can explain this.
It seems like there's a disrespect and disregard for, medical humanitarian action in that area.
In that area, that area is the only one served by humanitarian organization, because the humanitarian organization also are forced to be in that area, in that small area. We face every day really limited resources and medical supplies. Yeah,
it's a sad state to work in. It's a sad state to work in.
Thank you very much for your time, Federica. Your last words to South Africans out there?
I want just to close with a short story, just to make sure that everybody knows what happened in Gaza. I received in hospital one day one brother and one sister. The sister 9 years old, the brother 4 years old. The sister was completely Amira was completely burned. Forrest, the brother, asked about his sister. She was next to him, but because of the burn of her face, he didn't even recognize her, and she could hear his voice, so she could hear the voice of Fares, but couldn't speak because the same fire that had burned her skin has also burned her lungs. So this is what happened today in Gaza.
It's devastating.
Federica Letzi from MSF Medical Activity Doctors Without Borders, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. May the good Lord keep blessing you. Doing an incredible job. Thank you.
Really good. Thank you.
Our insurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance, and if they can't, you can ask them for 500 rands. SMS out to 4